You're watching Drake Wing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drake Wing Gaming. It's Subbing Man, sort of the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you into the Let's Play episode of Kingsguard, Leandros' Path. So yeah, before we jump into it, just wanted to let y'all know that our Patreon is now for as little as $5. Y'all can help support the channel and get some awesome rewards like permanent access to our community Discord server and full access to upcoming not safe for work videos. Anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back in. Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. And also, y'all, I'm going to be doing the patron thanks at the end of some of my future videos. I just have to get a list of who is a patron directly from the page, and I'm not logged in. L is logged in, so I have to get that login info. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right back in. Alright. You needed more allies. Leandros, I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but we need his help. If Ramos believes he can secure us more allies, I'm all for it. See? The kid's got the right idea. Jake, I know it seems like a tempting proposition, but we can handle things just fine on our own. Leandros, we need to prepare for all contingencies. I know you mean well, but it's this lack of insight that forced us into this position in the first place. We need all the help we can get if what Ramos says is true, and we should accept it. Especially if we are trying to defend our kingdom, our home. I don't like the idea of bringing more enemies from Farharan into our lands. But if they turn on us, we don't have much of a choice. We are fighting an uphill battle on a slippery slope. Ramos, are you completely sure that you can trust these allies of yours? Like I trust my own family. Though they've been dead for years, so maybe that's not a great comparison. Just have a little faith in me, alright? I'll get you that army you need, get paid, and then we can go back to living our merry little lives. You three can go back to having your little tea party orgies in the castle, and I can live off my days in luxury getting fat. Win-win, if I do say so. I really wish you would have done this as your duty. I left that allegiance a long time ago. Just wait and be amazed as Ramos the hero comes back with an army. A true hero would need to be paid to help those in need. Only in fairy tales, bushy tail. Only in fairy tales. Now then, I think I've overstayed my welcome here. If you need me, I will be in the dining hall. Eating and drinking is about the only thing to do on this godforsaken ship. Not even someone to spend these long, cold, lonely nights with. Ramos glanced over at you with a sly smile while Leandros took a step between the two of you. The rhino sauntered off and Leandros heavily sighed. He seemed quite confident. Do you really think that he can get us some reinforcements? I thought you were the one who wanted to give him a chance. I know, I'm just second-guessing if it really was the right choice. Despite what he may seem like on the outside, I do trust him, even if he is driven by how much coin he is handed. He may actually come through for us. I just hope that kind of motive for action doesn't mean we will be double-crossed by a higher bidder. The three of you stood in silence, just listening to the waves. All you could think about was what part you could play in all this. Given your injury, not much, but there had to have been something you could do. You were king now, after all, and this was your nation you would have to fight for. Koshiro, I want you to go to Brahm. Jake, I know that you want to stay behind to watch over me, but honestly, what help does that do for any of us? We left you once before. I never want that to happen again, even now more than ever. How do you truly expect to protect me? I can barely walk on my own, let alone run. Should someone come to attack me, what would you do? Carry me away from danger while also defending yourselves? I just can't imagine that working out too well. I know you mean well, but I'm sure that Marilyn and Esther will keep me safe. In the meantime, the two of you should be doing everything you can to put an end to this war. That's what's important right now. I can't very well rule a nation that no longer exists, can I? The two of them remained silent, almost dumbfounded and lost for words. You couldn't quite believe it yourself, putting the needs of the country before your own. Koshiro, I'm not sure how effective it will be, but I can still try and write a letter to our allies in Brahm. We're gonna need all the help that we can get. Are you sure that this is what you want? I have scouts who could easily deliver this message. I think a personal visit might be better suited, don't you think? You do have the badge, after all. Koshiro reached into his robe and withdrew a signet that only those close to the royal family were given. His shined and glimmered in the sunlight. It was obviously well taken care of, unlike yours, which in the paws of that grubby rat that robbed you. You know, coffee time. He gripped it tightly and then hid it from view. You have my word. I promised you that I would not fail you a second time. Koshiro quickly got down on one knee and kneeled, something you had never seen him do before in years except with your father. Leandro still hadn't said anything. He just kept looking distant. I take it that is alright with you? It's hard to believe that you're growing up so fast. It seems like only yesterday that you were sitting on my lap and asking me to read to you once more. Your face grew warm, and it wasn't because of the beating sun. There isn't much that I can say or do, though, to keep you safe other than watch over you myself. You two have an important job to do. Just try to stay out of trouble, for Marilyn and Esther's sake, alright? Man, I'm not even sure if you think I'm a kid or an adult. No matter how old you get, you'll always be a younger brother to me. Just promise you'll keep in touch, both of you, despite everything that has happened, everything I've said. I can't lose you two either. I don't want you dying for me. I don't want to wake up and hear news about how you perished. We'll do what we can, though it might be difficult. If our letters get intercepted, there is a chance our enemies might find you. I can have one of my scouts check up on you every once in a while. That way we can at least keep in touch with one another. Anything will do. The sun was beginning to droop low, and it was coming close to twilight as the three of you watched the waves along the deck. The wide seas brimmed just how far away from all your problems you were. Reminded you of just how far away from your problems you all were. Here, you likely could have lived a life without fear or worry, but that was the same as running away, and you could never get away from your problems. It was so nice to just relax, though, and maybe just for a day not have to think of the doom and gloom of yesteryear and the hereafter. Your stomach growled, or more like roared as it tried to get your attention once more. Wow, I don't believe I've ever heard that noise before. I imagine you will need to eat a lot to recover. Why don't we head to the dining area? He was right. You could feel your stomach trying to eat itself and wondered if you might be capable of finishing a 5-course meal. The two of you got up and began to walk away. Koshiro, are you coming? I'll pass for now. You'll never bulk out if you don't eat, you know. I'm honestly surprised you haven't wasted away with how little you eat. I do eat. Sorry, there's just been a few things on my mind lately. Koshiro got up and quickly bowed to you. Koshiro, I know that you mean well, but I assure you that they are trustworthy. I can only hope so. If you'll excuse me. What was that about? Are you two hiding things from me again? I have no idea what you're talking about. Figures. Well, I trust that you will tell me when the time is right. I'm sorry. Alrighty over it. For now, let's get something to eat, alright? Leandros guided you back inside the ship and down to one of the many dining rooms. Even from outside the door, the smell of food filled your nose and made your mouth water. Ramos sat in a corner, chugging a large pint of what you assumed to be ale and digging into a hearty piece of chicken. The two of you found a small table in the center of the room, and someone came over to take your orders. Your mouth watered at the sight of the different courses around the room, but as hungry as you weren't that certain you could hold anything down. Soup seemed to be the only thing you might have been able to have on the ship, so you went with that. As soon as your ordered food was brought before you, you went to go in, but ended up staring at the spoon at the side, your hands already starting to quiver. Back in the room, even for as embarrassing as it was to have Leandros feed you, it was a bit endearing. But there was no way you were getting caught dead out here with a grown lion helping you eat. You swallowed hard and carefully wrapped your fingers around the utensil and picked it up. It was hard, but you somehow managed as your fingers began to behave a bit better today than last night. I see your strength is returning. I was afraid I would have to feed you again. Don't bother me, I'm concentrating. It was taking more mental concentration than strength to keep your fingers curled around the spoon and have it at the right angle. It took a few tries, but eventually you managed to get about a quarter of a spoonful of soup from the bowl into your mouth. The rest, of course, landed on the table or back into the saucer. Leandros reached a hand forward a few times to try to help, but you swatted it away. This is something you had to do yourself, no matter how much you were suffering from it. I really am ashamed of myself for having you go through this. It's no one's fault but my own. You stopped your almost fruitless effort of eating and looked up at Leandros. He was looking away from you, off into space. How everything was handled before, during, and after. I really thought I was going to lose you. Stop blaming yourself. How could you have known that they were going to attack? Coffee time. You were still in more danger than you should have ever been in. When that beast man had you cornered, I couldn't even get to you in time. Oh, him. The wolf assassin was just one of many who were after your life, and you hoped you never had to fight another one of them again. It was a miracle you managed to survive that ordeal. I never felt more powerless in my life. He was insane. Stronger than me, faster than me, probably had more than a decade worth of experience beyond my own. The way he toyed with me, cut off his own arm like it was nothing more than an obstacle to his twisted lust. If he truly was serious, I never would have made it out of that. I should have ran forward anyway to get you. And expose your backs to these monsters? You would have likely have died for sure. My body is nothing more than a shield to keep you safe. You should know my oath. And you should know that reckless behavior like that doesn't do me any good. I would never want to see you die for my sake. Besides, I'm still here now, right? Somehow everything turned out all right. Yes, I suppose so. I couldn't take my eyes off you, even as I was defending myself. You held your own, even if he was holding back, and because of his arrogance, you found an opportunity to strike him down. Because it pays to listen to you sometimes. No, I was still afraid as that beastman fell, and I saw you hesitate as to what to do next. I thought to myself, what would you choose and pray that you would make the right choice? What do you mean? You had the opportunity in that creature's life. One person's entire future was held in your hand at that moment. I know exactly how you must have felt in that situation. I know how difficult it can be to make the choice that you made. In the heat of battle, you always have to make hundreds of decisions with only seconds to choose. Knowing who you were up against and just what he was planning to do, I was concerned that you would have gone through with it. But I'm glad of the choice you made, that you didn't have to go through the pain that comes from killing someone. Even ending the life of a monster like that beast man. He had stopped eating, still feeling the pain of hunger, but your appetite just wasn't there. The steam of the food began to disperse as you were lost in thought. Did my father ever have to kill anyone? The question came out without thought, though you already knew the answer. Your father was a kind man who believed that everyone deserved to live, but his role as king did not allow him to follow all of his beliefs. As much as he hated to, and as much as it hurt him, he had to. With his words, he dug many graves, for the young, the old, the rich, the poor. Criminals were executed by his command. He sent soldiers, including myself, off on perilous missions, many of whom never survived. And he had to live with it, all throughout his life. But Jake, understand that this is not the way that all kings and queens have chosen to rule. What do you mean by that? Your father was truly a wonderful king, but even he had his doubts. Same as you. He wanted to make a world free of strife and pain, one in which you would be safe in. And he made his decisions based almost entirely on that, sometimes even without thought. The choices he made were for you, in hopes that you would never have to walk the same path as he did. So please understand, just because your father ruled a certain way doesn't mean it is the one and true course. But if I'm king now, isn't it unavoidable? With war looming on the horizon, I may have to follow in his footsteps. You are still young and inexperienced, and have only been given a taste of what it's like to rule. This is why you have your council to help you make well-informed decisions. For now, though, your main concern is staying hidden and staying safe. Once we have returned to Havana, then... just understand that death doesn't always solve everything. Like now, water time. You really do act more like my mother sometimes. Always looking out for me and keeping me out of trouble. I've watched over you since you were born. It's only natural that I'm concerned about you. It can be a bit overbearing at times. Maybe I really am more like a mother to you then, though it would be better if you had compared me to an older brother. I know I'm overprotective. That's an understatement. Just think a bit about it. You still have a lot of time before you have to make any decisions like that. Both Koshiro and I are here to help you as well. I won't let you take on these burdens alone. After all, there are people out there, like doctors, who've made it their sole purpose in life to save people. Your actions may make their lives that much harder. As comforting as Leandros was trying to be, you knew this wasn't an issue that would just go away from soft words. How would you lead your life from here on? The days of roaming around Havana with little care in the world were already at an end. Whatever choice you made, though, it seemed like Leandros would always be there to support you. You spent most of the trip either recovering in your room or hobbling along the deck of the ship for fresh air. The doctor, who was the one to patch you up, came to see you every so often to check on your condition. He seemed surprised at how quickly you were recovering and said that just a few more days of rest in bed you would likely be able to walk with no problem at all. Leandros nearly burst into tears hearing that. He was more ecstatic about your recovery than you were. Though despite your quick recuperation, you still weren't allowed to do very many physical activities. But because your back didn't seem to bother you so much anymore, it seemed alright with you. Leandros prohibited you from training no matter how much you pleaded, and just to be sure, he hid your sword away, though a stray mop left behind by a deckhand was a suitable replacement as any. Time stretched out on the open sea. A minute felt like an hour, and each hour stretched on into eternity. The ship that once seemed like a shining beacon of new adventures and a new life became dull and jaded. You felt trapped just like back at the castle. Boredom became your worst adversary when there was so little to do and almost nothing to see. When you weren't sleeping, you were wasting away time playing cards, and even that became dreary. Your only connection to the outside world was with Koshiro and his strange bird that he sent out. With the latest message, you had learned that the capital was just now recovering from its attack. The assassins were gone for the most part. All had either fled or were captured, though they ended up killing themselves before they could be questioned. If the weather permitted, you would only have to spend 3 more days aboard the ship, but you were becoming antsy to see land. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!